Hi, I'm Kelly Scott from Pikeville High School. And, sorry, I was rushing up here. My superintendent stopped me, so I'm going to catch my breath for a second. But my program this year was called What's Cooking in Science. And so do you have a clicker? It doesn't work. Can I stand over here? All right. I'll just kind of be in charge of my own thing. Sorry. All right, so my problem as practice was many high school students have difficulty understanding high-level science content. They can lose focus when it comes to problem solving or completing projects that require deep levels of thought. That's not just a problem for high school students, right? It's a problem for us too. We are so in this technology world that things are boom. In a second, if we don't have it in 2 minutes, and our mind is someplace else. So when we're trying to get them to understand those concepts, we've got to do something to help them understand those. And so my solution was the Cooking in Classroom. So too often students are required to memorize or store content for short-term memory. I call it dump truck learning, right? Students, you know what I'm talking about. You learn it just for the test. You don't apply it to anything else. You dump it out and move on to the next concept. You know what I'm talking about. So I wanted to use more hands-on strategies, project-based learning, things that made it real so that kids could apply it and think about it in the future. Not only does it strengthen learning, but it helps that knowledge and long-term memory, and it helps with problem solving, right? Because if you're trying to figure out something over here and you know how you did that, a couple problems later, you can figure it out a whole lot easier. Research does confirm that project-based learning is effective and enjoyable way to learn and developing much deeper learning. 21st century skills require initiative, responsibility, self-confidence, problem-solving, working in teams, communicating ideas, and time management. All of that is done while cooking in the classroom. This year we have done a sustainable meal in our ecology class, things that were only grown in eastern Kentucky. They had to develop their recipes, their menu. We had to cook it within the hour to plate it. So we've done all kinds of things, and all of that falls right into 21st century skills. And all of us sitting here, whether you are young or old, 21st century skills are going to be applying to us because that's what the world is going to. So my implementation process, so the goal was to incorporate cooking lessons in my science class. And I was able to set up 6 cooking stations because by the time I got my grant money, everything was on sale. And so instead of just 5 stations, I got 6 cooking stations. And when we don't cook, the kids are like, oh my gosh, when are we cooking? What are we going to learn today? And so we have hot plates, convection toaster ovens, pots, pans, cooking, baking, and then all the things, measuring cups and spoons. And we have used it not just in cooking, but so many other aspects in our science class. It's been so much fun. And then the recipes and demonstration guides are also necessary because it's amazing. Kids don't know how to cook or measure or any of those things, but it's been so much fun, and trial and error, that's part of learning. Okay, so that's success. So a measure of success was greater student learning and more engagement on difficult concepts. And so I know just cooking the egg and talking about how those macromolecules are changing, right? Those proteins of that egg are physically changing. That heat changed those, denatured them, and they're never going to be the same again, right? So when we applied that to what we're talking about proteins, it made sense. And so many different things. And you see over here, we got kids they're doing their data, right? We popped popcorn, they're doing their data, collecting their data, but then they also get to eat it when they're done. And so here's some more pictures. It's not just fun and games, right? Here's your recipe, go at it. It's all kinds of record-taking data, observations, right? And this is what we do in the real world, and you don't think about it, how it's tied to cooking. And so, once again, you see all my classes. My classes of 30, it's been kind of hard. I've had to do it over 2 days, split them up, because it's really hard to cook 30 kids, not cook 30 kids at one time, but allow for kids to cook 30 at a time. Yeah, I cook my kids all the time. Here we are learning about chemical reactions. So we actually made pancakes and buttermilk biscuits and things like that because we were doing chemical reactions. And so it was really nice, and we even got the principal to come in and help us out that day. So he came in and helped make pancakes. And so this is part of my ecology class. When we did our food unit, the kids had to come up with dishes that were Kentucky proud. And being Kentucky proud means that it's something raised in Kentucky, raised locally, because one, it's important to buy local. 2, it's more sustainable. less pollution, less of a carbon footprint if we buy locally. So all of their meals had to be something that was contained locally. And so we spent the whole day cooking, and it was a great time. It was kind of like a family dinner. Everybody had their own section. We all sat down as a family and got to enjoy each other's meals, and it was really nice, and it was a great bonding time in that class, and also a great learning experience. Okay, anybody have any questions for me? All right, thank you so much.
Can you sign in?